Should you do cardio or weightlifting or both? It really depends on what your particular goals are and what you're looking to get out of it. So let's talk about it. Should you lift weights or do cardio or a combination of both? It's going to depend on what your primary goal is. So if you're looking to build muscle and change your body composition, you should absolutely be paying attention to lifting weights and doing it in a smart, structured way, right? Following a progressive program that you can stick to for a long period of time and that you're actually progressing week to week. But you don't want to just forget about cardio, even if building muscle is your main goal, because when you're lifting weights, if your cardiovascular system is in better health, you're going to be able to lift heavier weights. And when I say that, I mean, if you're doing a set of 10 squats and you're dead on the floor after you're doing those squats, that's going to be because your cardiovascular system is a little bit limited, versus if you kept up with your cardiovascular health and you did some cardio in, you worked some other energy systems, like you were doing some sprints or just working a little bit more in the lower intensity systems, so doing some just treadmill walking or cycling, that in itself is going to boost your cardiovascular health and allow you to actually lift heavier weights, because you're going to be able to last longer during that workout, right? So you're not going to be like dead on the floor huffing and puffing after a set of squats, because your cardiovascular system is in good shape. So that's where that comes into play in terms of cardio being important, even if your main goal is to build muscle. So you want to think about that. You want to think about training in the different energy systems. So when you're lifting weights, you're primarily going to be working in the anaerobic system. And we have different energy systems in our body. The two main ones are aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic just means that you're utilizing more oxygen. And so that's going to be more of like your lower intensity activities, more of the endurance, walking, jogging, cycling type of things. And then your anaerobic system just means without oxygen. So that's going to be the system where you're doing more high intensity work, lifting weights, doing sprints on the treadmill, doing more high intensity interval training. So if you can work in those energy systems and get a good balance with those, you're going to be able to effectively do more, especially when it comes to lifting weights. You're going to feel better overall. You're going to be able to, like I mentioned, lift heavier weights because you're not going to be limited by your cardiovascular system. So if your main goal is to lift weights and build muscle, make sure that you are still paying attention to cardio. Make sure that you're at least doing some cardio or conditioning activities throughout, the week, and pairing that with your lifting. The only thing I will say here, though, is that you want to make sure that you're not doing too much, right? Don't do too much extra sprinting or extra cardio, because that is going to impair your recovery. And so that's not going to be a good idea if your main goal is to build muscle, because you want to make sure you're going into your lifting sessions with, enough recovery. You're rested, you're feeling good, you're not sore. So just be mindful of that. And then on the opposite side of things, if your main goal is to, run a marathon or do a triathlon, that is a very specific sport, right? That's this kind of concept we know of specificity. If you have a particular goal, then you should probably be doing more of what that goal is, right? So if your goal is to run a marathon or to just get better at running, then you're probably gonna have to do that. And that's gonna be more, endurance based or cardio based, right? So that's probably gonna be, the majority of your training. But in that regard, you also don't wanna forget about lifting weights, right? You wanna make sure that you are still building muscle, because that's gonna in turn make sure that you're getting stronger, and that's gonna allow you to feel better when you're training. So for me, I did triathlons in college, and I had my best races when I actually paid attention to getting at least 2 days in of lifting and paying attention to actually building muscle and getting stronger. Because when you're stronger, you just feel better overall, and you're able to push yourself more, even in those endurance style exercises. So to answer this question, should you lift weights or should you do cardio or should you do a combination of both? It's going to depend on what your primary goal is, but you don't want to forget about one or the other, even if you're focused on that primary goal. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn more about nutrition, fitness, or metabolic flexibility, you can check out our website, metflexlife.com. There you can find our podcast, Metflex and Chill, our nutrition and exercise programs, our latest blog posts, free recipes, and much more.